Hey everyone, welcome to Sprinkle Some Love with a Cause by Trisha Mullen. Tonight our guest is Tonia Smith. We're going to do another update on her. For those of you who have not followed, definitely check out our previous podcast or our previous YouTubes or our previous lives, depending on which platform you're on. Tonia has been struggling for a few years now with a lot of different actual medical issues. Starting with gastroparesis, from epilepsy to some COVID issues to many other things as well. But let's just welcome her on for now. Hi, Tonia. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
I'm so glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back.
Definitely. So I know in December you and I did an update. So I'm kind of hoping to hear. I know you and I talk daily, but for the guests who actually haven't heard, I'm kind of hoping to give a little update of what happened after December, like right before Christmas. If you could kind of start there on your journey and lead us up to now so we can get a little more information.
Okay, so before any of this, like a year ago, I was diagnosed with GP, and I've actually been battling epilepsy since I was 2 years old, so I've had it my whole life. But my town has went through a major storm. There was lives lost.
Yes, and I remember in our last update we went over the tornado that hit Mayfield. For those of you who don't know, she's from Mayfield, and the tornado came through and wiped away a majority of the town. And it was very tragic. Sorry, my son just came out and distracted me. It was very tragic. In December, we did an update about that. And at that time, obviously, the hospitals were filled with patients from the tornado. And I know you were undergoing some medical issues. So what happened when you did make it to the hospital once the town started kind of getting back to a little bit of normal? It'll never be normal again, but what happened at that point?
Well, at that point, I caught COVID, and I don't even know how that happened. I caught COVID and pneumonia at the same time. I was battling that, cause like it was hard to breathe, and I was on steroids, and I was on medication, and I was on like breathing treatments and an inhaler every 4 hours, which I still have the inhaler, and everything. It was like crazy because like I couldn't breathe, and I felt like I needed to go to the hospital, so I went. I was rushed by ambulance, and my face and stuff was turning blue. My O2 was like 80, and they had that mask on me.
Right, when you
had that mask on me, and I told them I was to get that mask off me, and I didn't like it, and they COVID swabbed me, and they said I had COVID, and they did a chest x-ray, and they said that I had pneumonia in my lung too, so like I was battling a lot, and at the same time I was coughing a lot, so like at the time I was coughing a lot, my J-tube ended up falling out.
And for those of you who don't know what a J-tube is, let's give a little bit of a breakdown for them, Tonia, just in case they weren't following your case. Do you want to explain what a J-tube is? If not, I can.
It's where you get your nutrition through your like intestines, because like with GP, it don't work, and you don't like get any nutrition like you're supposed to.
Yep, so you need a feeding tube, and it's generally placed, like, actually into their stomach. So there's a hole in her stomach, and then the tube goes into her stomach. So her tube is what she's describing, ripped out while in the hospital. And how did that go for you? I know that you discussed, you and I personally talked, and you discussed lawsuit issues, and you had to leave that hospital and go to another hospital because that hospital wasn't equipped for the situation that it had escalated to at this point. You came in with COVID, and you left out with more issues than you came with.
Yeah, they, well, as that happened, I told them to stop forcefully shoving this one tube through, and because it was hurting and I was bleeding out, and I told them to stop, that it had to surgically be inserted, and that they needed to get a surgeon, and they completely ignored me, and they continued to push it through. So, and I had no issues with, like, anything. I don't know what could cause me to start bleeding or anything, but like, I've actually got some bleeding going on, and they don't know where the bleeding is coming from, so I actually have to see a urologist, because, my kidneys aren't working like they're supposed to, so.
Did they explain why your kidneys aren't working? Was there like an infection or a reason? Was there anything that they offered to do to help the situation?
They said to just get an appointment with the urologist, and they told me to get an appointment set up with the gastro in Louisville, and so I did that. They were trying to transfer me to Louisville, but as they were trying to do that, they were trying to figure out why my record was being wiped from Louisville.
And why was it? Did you guys determine that?
Yeah, I actually had to talk to a police officer, and the hospital before I went to the other hospital was actually trying to cover what they did, so.
Yeah, with the whole tubing issue and the way that they inserted it wrongfully. I was very upset to hear that when you had told me. And I remember when you called me, the way your pupils looked, the color of your skin, you were not good when I had told you to call that ambulance and go to the hospital. I was scared for you for sure. And I was very glad that you went, but then very sad that they did that. But glad that you got help for the COVID and the pneumonia. And then I know you left that hospital and then you ended up going somewhere to get your J-tube fixed, correct?
Well, I'm going to have surgery
on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'll be praying for you Tuesday. I'll also be in surgery with my sister on Tuesday. So I will definitely be messaging you, and whenever you wake up, reach out, let me know how it goes, like you normally do. For sure. So Tuesday after they fix it, what would be the plan from here now, like for your GP?
Hopefully they show me how to keep this balloon from popping or deflating.
Well, ask them tomorrow, like on Tuesday when you go, have them show you before you get put under to sleep, because once you come back out, you might not remember everything because of the drugs that the anesthesiologist gives you. So I would definitely have them show you before your surgery, whatever information you need to help better care for yourself. Definitely get that information before those medications are given. so they stick in your brain and you remember them, or record your little conversation, like you know how you do in Facebook Messenger, you hold the button and you record. You can just send a message to yourself, and when the doctor's talking, you can hold the button, and then when you get home later, you can replay it when you're ready to actually maintain, the issue. So I'm not.
And about the kidney issue, they think I have an infection.
Did they start administering antibiotics?
Yeah, they did while I was there at the hospital.
So when's your urologist appointment?
2 days after my surgery.
Okay. Did you inform your surgeon that of your kidney issue so he could be better prepared? And if there is an infection in your kidney, I know you need the surgery on your stomach, don't get me wrong, but if there's already infection and you're going to have another surgery, you're risking more chances of more infection. So you definitely need antibiotics given when you go home from surgery on Tuesday while waiting to see the urologist, and maybe some lab work done before those antibiotics are started. So you should definitely have your kidney doctor link up with your gastroparesis specialist, and together they could get a couple things accomplished before surgery. But that would be working and getting some phone calls done tomorrow on Monday to try to get them to link up together better. Because if you have that surgery and you have a kidney infection, your kidney failure, if you're not continuing antibiotics and it's from an infection, which this is how I developed chronic kidney disease, is later you can get permanent damage from your kidneys failing if from an infection. I got a staph infection and then my kidneys started failing, and then from that the damage went untreated for so long because I wasn't aware of the infection. Then by the time I got to it, it was a staph infection now. It was so bad and hard to get rid of. The damage was permanent, and now I permanently have kidney disease for the rest of my life. So you definitely want to be taking antibiotics as soon as one bottle runs out, continue another until that infection's gone, or you want a PICC line, or you're going to need to go back to the hospital, like depending on how bad it gets. So you definitely don't want to just be doing surgeries while you have a kidney infection that is really bad, that's making you urinate blood. You feel me?
Yeah.
So you definitely need to let your doctor know. And if your doctor decides to move forward, then he'll move forward with a plan of action of how he can start to treat the kidneys to better help you recover from surgery while waiting to get to the urologist. Because, your gastroparesis specialist can write you the same type of antibiotics that you would need to get rid of the kidney infection, and he can start you on those or start them in your IV before surgery. But only if he's aware of all of this could he do those things. You feel me? Which goes where self-advocating is so important when you're advocating for yourself, because these are the things that you need to, you're basically the messenger between the doctors.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to get that message across so they can change their treatment plan for you to better serve and accommodate your medical needs. Yes. So at that point, what's the plan with the urologist? Do you have any idea? Have they discussed, is there permanent damage already? Have you been told? Do you have to do dialysis? Have you discussed with anybody, or have they?
They haven't told me anything yet. I haven't. That's why I'm supposed to find out when I go.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I definitely will be praying for you, and you'll be in my thoughts and prayers. Do you want to do, well, I have a topic that I kind of want to talk about, but I really don't know if you're comfortable talking about it or not. So would you like to talk about depression and anxiety? I know a lot of people right now are struggling with depression, and I know you personally have been through so many things. And I just kind of want to ask, what do you do to help yourself not be depressed? Because life, you have to pick up all the pieces, and I know with everything you've been through, how are you surviving and fighting your off depression to make sure depression doesn't happen for you?
I just reach out and talk to somebody.
And you have people that you can communicate with and do. I know that I'm one of them, but you and I talk about a lot of things, but you have other people that you communicate with and can reach out with whenever you're feeling down or sad?
Yes.
And is that the only thing you do, or is there anything else you do to help with your depression?
Well, with my depression, I also, I don't know if a lot of people are actually Christian or not, but I read scripture.
Okay. Do you have a favorite scripture maybe that you like to read that you want to share with us?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. You said you don't, or you do?
I do.
Alrighty. Well, whenever you find it, I know you gotta probably pull it out.
I already have it out. It's just gotta find where I marked it. I had it marked because I actually was teaching on it tonight at church.
Well, share with us. Let's uplift everyone.
I just gotta find it.
Okay. So while she's looking for it, I just kind of wanted to say a couple things that I personally been kind of like struggling with depression too myself. And I realized that during depression, it really sucks. You let go of your appearance a little bit. You let go of your house and your like daily duties a little bit. You kind of start slacking on some of your responsibilities. Some of your, how you're always so positive for other people. Sometimes you start not being always so positive for other people. So for me, trying to get all of that back, I started off with like daily quotes in the morning, kind of like scriptures, like what she's saying, but I did like quotes. I started off with a list of like things I wanted to accomplish each day, just picking like two major things, one being family and one being something for the house, and then the third one being something for myself, throwing that in there as a bonus. And I set like 3 goals a day. One could be like just doing the dishes, cleaning the kitchen. The other could be, taking a shower, brushing my hair. And the third one could be making sure I reach out to my loved ones and letting them know how much I care about them. And uplifting others, because that does a lot for yourself too, And I recently kind of realized that that's starting to help a lot. So for anyone who is struggling, start just implementing 3 small goals a day and trying to get 1 or 2 or 3, all of them accomplished. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. Not every day you're always going to get all your goals accomplished, but don't overdo it. Just pick like 3 small things. So are you ready for us, Tonia?
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'm ready to hear this scripture.
Alright, it's Deuteronomy 31, verse 8. It says, "It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." That is my favorite one.
And what does that like mean to you when you read it? Like how does that personally help you?
It personally helped me because like it makes me feel like his love is always there.
Okay.
And like I always have like comfort in knowing that I can lean on him if I feel like I have nobody else.
I really like that answer. I kind of asked just to see like where your mind frame was with it, and I really like where your mind's at with that quote. And when people read things, they interpret it. It's all about perception, and perception will determine whether things will work for you or not work for you. And I definitely think that you have a positive perception, and that is why you are so advanced in life. I feel like at times you're always so positive, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter what you're dealing with. I have to give it to you. I've always noticed you do reach out to God, and you always go to church whenever things aren't going as planned in your life, and I really do see a turnaround when you do that. So I definitely suggest you continue to do that, because I really do think that that's helping you a lot.
It was they asked me to teach the lesson tonight.
How did that go?
It went good. I felt like amazing because I spoke to young people.
Have you ever done something like that before? So would it be something you would do again?
Yeah.
So I definitely like spreading the word, whether it's Jesus, God, religion, or whether it's medical or just, sharing the journey. Have you ever thought about sharing your full journey with your church, about everything that's happened to you, about, everything you've been through, and then maybe, speaking about how epilepsy has affected you and gastroparesis?
Yeah.
So you have, or you've thought about doing it? I'm a little confused.
I thought about doing it.
Well, you should definitely do it, because I know that when you share with others what's going on, it lifts that burden and that weight off of you and that stress. And when we are struggling and fighting so many different diseases, we have a lot of burdens and a lot of stress. And the more that you just let those go and just let everyone know what it is you're dealing with, the more your fight becomes easier. Along that, that journey is really a lot easier when you're not fighting alone, because the more you bring awareness, and that awareness can really bring a lot of good feelings. Even when I do these podcasts, I didn't realize how much they helped other people, but a lot of people listen to these and then they realize, I think that's what I have, and they go and they start asking their doctors, and lo and behold, people do have it. And gastroparesis is a rare disease that a lot of people aren't aware of because of how new it is. And it's actually not as rare as we think. It's just not as highly diagnosed, which makes it rare. And now that it's more, I want to say it's more common now, obviously, than 15 years ago. We didn't even have a name for it. So now we're realizing that a lot of these people aren't just, people say you're a hypochondriac, or you're making it up, or nothing's really wrong with you. You ate that food last time. It didn't hurt you. Why does it hurt you now? Those type of comments, people are realizing that we're not, there is a real disease. And a lot of people are struggling. I personally know a few people recently that reached out and was like, dude, this is what's going on. And after listening, I really think that's what I have. How do I get tested? And that's the number one question people ask me is, how do I get tested to see if I have that? So I really want to thank you, Tonia, for sharing your journey with us as well. And it's helping a lot of other people who are struggling. And you're not the only one who struggles as well with gastroparesis and epilepsy. There has been a few others that I've come across, but I definitely give you your props, because you deal with so much and you're still so amazingly positive. And your journey is probably going to be someone else's guide one day. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I didn't really, so I kind of wanted to go over a little, I know we talked about that tornado and stuff. How has your town been coming back together since everything? How is the readjustment period and the rebuild period?
Rebuild period is about 2 years, the mayor said.
Okay. Have they started to rebuild anything?
No, they just been tearing the buildings down and cleaning up still.
Okay. So they're still in the removal process.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that a majority of the town was hit, and very much didn't survive. But what is left at this point? Because that was like almost 90 days ago, right?
Yeah.
All right.
What's left is I know the crappy hospital. I will call it the crappy hospital. Uh, trying to think. There's a few other places that are still here. McDonald's, Burger King. There's a few other places on my side of town that survived.
I know that most of your neighbors' houses didn't and yours did, but how many houses would you say in the whole town survived, like on an estimate?
Maybe I would say at least 10 or 12.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. There's a lot of homeless people.
I definitely would say if there's only 10 to 12 homes, there wouldn't be any homes for people to have. That is amazingly sad. How many schools were left? I know most of the schools you said got taken, but was there any school left?
Yeah, they went back to school. Actually, it's the school bus garage that got took out, and Mayfield school buses are all destroyed. They only have like 3 running buses, but they're borrowing like from other districts.
Okay, so is there like a shelter in place for the homeless where the children can still go to and from school? And did the shelter survive?
Well, they're in shelter. They're just going to a different school temporarily.
Okay. That's a lot of changes for the community, for sure. Definitely.
And the mayor said it will take up to 2 years for the whole town to be rebuilt, so.
Easily, I can guarantee, yes. Just alone with, if the houses and businesses are going to easily take 2 years. And depending on how many workers and how many teams from out of state come in to help, it may take longer if not as many people come. Because I know that same week and that same month, we had multiple tornadoes in multiple states. So your state and city isn't the only one at the same time going through this. So not all the workers aren't just drive to one spot. Now there's kind of like competition, to rebuild all of these cities. And workers are going to go to wherever they're going to be able to financially make the most money economically. So
a lot of our help has already left. So
and they're not even done cleaning. So who's going to come in to do the rebuilding?
That's what I'm saying. A lot of our help has actually left.
Right, because it's been 90 days. So the relief check ended in the beginning of January. So the last 2 weeks, you've probably seen a lot of less workers because last year's check cut and paid those, and it ended in December. So now they got to reapply in January. So you'll go a couple weeks with no workers until the grants and checks are funded from the government. Then the workers will come back when the money comes back.
I just wonder where all the money is going, because like the people that actually need help that are without homes and without stuff, FEMA is denying them. So
because this was considered a national disaster, so it'd be national disaster funds instead of FEMA.
Well, they're still denying the families, though, that are without homes.
Okay, have you guys done like a city council meeting or anything?
I think the mayor has. I think she has. She's trying her best.
Well, normally at those city council meetings, you can go on their websites and rewatch their meetings. That's a great way to also stay in tuned and in key on like what's going on. But they'll let you know what type of grants or they classified the disaster under. So let's say it was a pandemic grant, it would be like obviously the PPP. And then if it's a national disaster, it'd be this. If it's a state disaster, it would be like under your FEMA. Since it's a national disaster, they considered it, I believe, or something like that. I don't know because I know that tornado went through multiple states. It wasn't just one state. So I'm sure that like there's different. So you know how they have like a hurricane relief and then there's tornado relief. It might be
Yeah.
a different relief. So it might not be any of the ways that you guys are applying. You might just be applying for all the wrong grants. But if you like Hurricane Katrina, for instance, that is a particular funding, had its own funding. There might be funding for the particular tornado itself. So
we don't need it. It's just I know families that do.
Right, but finding out the information is the first step, and then making the families aware of the order of operation and what grants and what funding is available, or getting them hooked up with someone from the city council who knows these things, or someone from the city hall who knows these things, or go down to the city hall, have them and start asking questions, and then they'll give them somewhere in the right direction. Or call 211, which is United Way, explain where you're at, what your situation is, and United Way can always give you what organization or funding is available or what companies are helping apply for those grants, because sometimes you have to go through an agency to even get the funding, because the funding sometimes is only given to agencies. So it just depends on what this particular disaster, how they classified it, depends on how you apply. So I would start there. And then what about DHS? Have you directed your friends and others to go to DHS and seek emergency relief through any of those services and or emergency assistance? And then they can also direct them into other organizations, and then they can also confirm. And if DHS confirms certain issues, then normally like you're automatically approved at the secondary agencies. But you normally have to have like DHS write off and verify like you're homeless and you're this and you're that. So there's like an order of operation, and if they don't have all the correct documents, they're going to get denied. Even though they're qualified, but they're only qualified with the correct documents. And obviously after a tornado, people don't have documents just laying around. They're somewhere out in the sky or in the ground or in the house or built up or burnt up or messed up. So that's where most of the denial comes in. So that's where DHS comes into play, because DHS actually has all of those documents you would need in their system. So they can verify your identity and verify all your stuff for you as well if you're in person. And there's forms and stuff you can fill out. So I don't know if that helps anybody out there who's struggling through that tornado, but that's where I would start is 211 DHS and or look and see if there's tornado relief. I don't know what that was. Did that tornado get a name?
I don't know if it did or not.
Most tornadoes get like a name, and then that, just like the hurricanes do. And then you can look and see if there's disaster for that. If not, you can go on their FEMA website and see what proper documentation you need to submit, and then resubmit or file an appeal on the applications that have already been denied. If you file an appeal, you're likely to get payment from your initial application. If you start over, it depends on what FEMA's rules are for that. I'm not exactly sure of those guidelines. But most cases, when you file appeal, it backdates to the original application date. So I definitely wouldn't give up just because FEMA said no. I'd be filing an appeal after appeal after appeal until I get it right and you tell me yes. Like, I wouldn't give up, because obviously we know I'm homeless. We know my house was taken away in the tornado. We know that I'm in a shelter. We know my kids are relocated schools. So what's the holdup? Obviously y'all are just trying to struggle because 2021's grants and fundings, they're just getting reset in January. So sometimes companies and agencies will deny you, hoping that half of you won't reapply and the other half that do, by time you do, will have funding, and just by time you do, and then you'll be back in line. So it'll all work out. And it sucks that agencies do that, but I've realized a pattern, and it's not just like one agency to call an agency out. There's multiple agencies that actually have like a denial process first, where they deny all applications once. And then the second time they make you verify your identity. Then the third time they make you submit receipts, and then the fourth time, yeah, if you've jumped through all of our hoops and you're still here, then you really need it approved. It's kind of crappy that it goes that way. But so what else has been going on with you medically? I know that you did have like a little bit of time in between that COVID and waiting for the surgery, and the kidneys we talked about, but I feel like there's something else we're missing, but we talk so often I kind of forget.
Um,
Is your epilepsy under control right now? And since COVID, has your epilepsy been affected at all through COVID?
yeah, that. I was rushed to the hospital for that.
Yeah, that's what we were missing. I'm like, I remember there was another incident with you, but I couldn't recall exactly or put my finger on it. So do you just remembered about having to go to the hospital in between the COVID and the J tube issue? What happened with that?
I don't remember hardly anything from that. No, I just remember waking up in the rapid room.
Okay. And how long was your recovery? I know that each time they monitor you, how long did they admit you for?
I was there overnight.
Did they change any of your meds or say what caused the seizure?
They are thinking that my fever may have caused it.
The fever from COVID?
Yeah.
Okay. I could see 2 and 2 happening. And then after that, were your seizures under control through most of COVID, or did they start like spiking?
They started spiking more and more.
What type of seizures were they, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Were they like the grand mal seizures, because you kind of clock out and your whole body shakes and all the other stuff, or were they like daydream seizures, or?
It's where I would clock out and like I would stop breathing.
Those are grand mal seizures. Those are the worst of all, to be honest. And when they up like that and increase like that, it's very scary and very hard on the human body. So I commend you. I remember when you and I were talking that they were spiking, and I remember you said like you had so many that one day. How many did you have in one day? It was a lot. I can't hear you.
18.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was like 18 to 20 in one day. I remember you saying, and we were on the phone, and then you felt like you were going to be having another one, so you let me go. I was pretty scared for you at that moment, and you started praying, and you got your scriptures out, and look, here you are now on your road to recovery. Now you're back down to your normal amount, right? Which is like 1 a month or something.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good news. That's really good news.
Besides, at night, like, my mom has to come check on me at night, though.
Okay, to make sure you're not having one while you're asleep?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely glad to hear how you went from the hospital fighting right after Christmas, right before Christmas and around Christmas, till now, just in that short period of time from the last podcast we did a couple weeks ago till now. The COVID's gone, your seizures are down, you're getting your kidney issue under control and you're seeking help, and you're starting surgery on Tuesday for your J tube to get fixed. So it seems like after these next 2 visits, you're going to have your body back in control and be back to what you consider normal, which is really good. I'm really happy to hear that, and that there's no real permanent issues long-term wise other than the J2, which we already knew was there before it got out of place. So I would definitely say you're going to be back to your normal self here soon. And hopefully we can watch the town rebuild and it go back to its normal self. And before you know it, things would be back on track. So I'm hoping for you.
Yeah.
How have you been dealing recently? I know that you lost your child to epilepsy. I'm really sorry about that. I know we did a podcast about that for those of you who want to go back and listen to that. How are you still mentally doing and holding up with that?
I am actually just, I know she's not suffering, so I'm just holding up by, like I said, I know some people aren't religious, but like I just read scripture and pray and just hope for the best.
Well, I'll definitely say she's your guardian angel now. And that's the blessing in all of the tragedy. Is now you have someone on the other side who can help you when you're fighting, who wants to see you do good, who's going to make sure you recover each time so you can be there for her other sibling. It's important that our guardian angels protect us. And I definitely feel like you gained a guardian angel and a protector. And for the rest of your life, she's going to still be with you. No matter where you go or what you go through, I definitely believe she'll be right there with you.
And along the way, I met this nurse in Louisville. She has a heart. She had a heart transplant, and her body is actually denying the heart. So she only has like so many years left here on Earth.
Okay.
So she is actually helping me, and she's heaven sent.
Well, let's all definitely pray for her and pray for her body to start accepting the heart. Sometimes we reject things, but let's hope that her body starts to accept it and changes its mind. And definitely let's pray to your little girl to see that she can help that in any way that she can. Let's hope that she can. I definitely will be praying for you and your loved ones. I wanted to ask, is there anybody that you would like to give a shout out to or a thank you for all of the support they've done or the things they've helped you through? Anybody who right now is being there for you, Would you like to give them a thank you?
Like I said, I wanna thank that nurse that actually treats me like family, and I hope she gets better. And I want to also thank my mom, my boyfriend, and uh, my church, and the missionaries that are out there, of course.
Okay. Well, I definitely appreciate you sharing your story with us and giving us an update. I look forward to doing more of these with you in the future. And I also feel free. We're going to start trying to do an open mic night on here where there's a way where everyone can chat, and we're live on Relevant right now, but there's a way where we can go live on there together and talk and do things, and there's a way that you can message me on there. I'm definitely steering away a little bit from Facebook more because of all the censorship, and they just keep putting me in Facebook jail, so I really can't do much on there anymore. So Relevant is where I'm at, and that they actually sponsor the show, Sprinkle Some Love with a Cause by Trisha Mullen. They also sponsor my 420 Smoke Room group as well. You guys can check out that vibe on Relevant. We have 2 vibes. So I definitely would like you to join us, though, for a live on Sprinkle Some Love with a Cause when we do open mic night. Next time we do it, I'll shoot you a message and see if you're available. And there's a few of us that hop on and we just kind of get together and chat about whatever. But the mic, like the open mic night on there, you're allowed to have multiple people live. So it's not like just me and you. It's me, you, and whoever else decides to hop on. But it's also audio, so you don't got to worry about like what you look like or where you're at or if you're at the hospital. And you can hop on and decide not to say anything. You can mute your mic and just listen or whatever you choose. But definitely, if you need to get a hold of me and you can't find me through Facebook because I'm still in jail, reach me on Relevant for sure. And I look forward to talking with you soon, and I hope you have a good night, Tonia.
All right, you too. Thank you.
You too. And this is a sneak peek, by the way, because it's live on Relevant. It will air on YouTube tonight, but it won't air on the rest of my platforms until probably next week, towards the end of next week, like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Alexa, TuneIn, iTunes, all of that stuff. There's so many other platforms like FM radio, podcasters, Pandora. So it'll air on all of those next week, probably Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
So, alrighty. For those of you who want to get early releases like this, join us on Relevant. This is where we do and record and later air on the rest of our platforms. So check us out. Enjoy your night, everyone. Bye. Hey everyone, welcome to Sprinkle Some Love with a Cause by Trisha Mullen. Tonight our guest is Tonia Smith. We're going to do another update on her. For those of you who have not followed, definitely check out our previous podcast or our previous YouTubes or our previous lives, depending on which platform you're on. Tonia has been struggling for a few years now with a lot of different actual medical issues. Starting with gastroparesis, from epilepsy to some COVID issues to many other things as well. But let's just welcome her on for now. Hi, Tonia. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
I'm so glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back.
Definitely. So I know in December you and I did an update. So I'm kind of hoping to hear. I know you and I talk daily, but for the guests who actually haven't heard, I'm kind of hoping to give a little update of what happened after December, like right before Christmas. If you could kind of start there on your journey and lead us up to now so we can get a little more information.
Okay, so before any of this, I was